All right, everybody, welcome to it's a Saturday. So this is really a great day because there's a lot of news with the Capital One, I'm sorry, American Express Platinum card. Not Capital One news right now, but I mean, it would be nice if they had some Capital One news, but we'll see. But yeah, so we have the Alaska Airlines announced kind of more or less more details about their new premium card. And then, of course, the platinum news that everyone's kind of been talking about so far this week. And we're going to get into kind of all that, and we can kind of discuss our feelings and emotions about that. So hopefully everyone can hear me. That'd be really great to hear if someone had any trouble with that. But let's get into, first of all, the news of the day, essentially. So we're going to go ahead and share our screen here so we can discuss kind of what's going on with Doctor of Credit. So this is from the Doctor of Credit website, although the actual news itself initially was kind of came through on Reddit. And thank you, Source King. I appreciate you. So this is kind of interesting. So the personal platinum and the business platinum get a $600 credit. So what's really interesting here is the fact that the business platinum is actually a part of this because before today, or well, currently today, the business platinum card doesn't actually get an FHR credit right now. So it's actually just it does have the business platinum does have the airline credit, but it does not have the FHR credit. However, the business platinum will be getting the $600 FHR credit. So if you're someone who has both the business platinum and the platinum, the personal platinum card, you could actually get $1,200 a year in credit, but you'd have to pay, maybe one night of one stay on one card and then one night of the other stay on another or something like that. So now, one thing here that I did want to say, it doesn't look like, according to these terms and conditions that leaked, that you would actually have to like increase the number of nights that you actually stay at any of these properties. And so that was kind of a big question, whether or not they would require, say, 2 nights at FHR. Right now, it's in order to qualify for the credit, you just have to get one night of a fine hotels and resorts property, and then or 2 nights at least of a hotel from the hotel collection. So this is kind of a big deal. Now it's $300 every 6 months, which is kind of so the current one right now, the current credit is kind of better than that, right? Because it's $200 for the year. So you don't have to break it up or anything like that, which is, really it's really nice that it's one of the few credits with American Express. It's actually not difficult to use, right? The way it is currently, as long as you do the prepaid rate with a fine hotels and resorts or the hotel collection, this thing just works, right? So breaking it up into two kind of 6 month segments can be a problem, right, for some people. And so totally understand kind of that aspect of things, so like that kind of frustration, right? This is kind of be more along the lines of like the couponification that a lot of people are talking about, and so that can kind of be frustrating. But in my experience, I've actually really kind of enjoyed the fine hotels and resorts and the hotel collections so far. But we're going to get into kind of comparing, and so I don't want to get too into it, but I definitely want to talk to it. So we're gonna our talk about it. So let's get into exploring things on the current fine hotels and resorts. So this is the Amex Travel portal. So what we're going to do is we're going to search for just a random place. If anybody has a place they'd like for me to search, go ahead and put that in the comment section below. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put in Orlando because I know a little bit about hotels in Orlando. And then we're just going to go a couple months out. Let's go for October. And let's pick a 2 night stay in October. So let's take a look at what some of those options look like. We actually have some interesting hotel news in Orlando, actually. So there's a Howard Johnson's, which I actually didn't know was still around, but there's a Howard Johnson on International Drive that was actually shut down and condemned because it turned out that, well, first of all, they weren't paying their water bill, but also their fire alarm system didn't work, which was crazy. And in fact, actually, if you go to the Wyndham website, you can't actually book this hotel because it hasn't been removed from the site, but they've completely blocked out the schedule, which is just wild. So not something you really expect from Wyndham. But if you take a look here, so you can see some astronomical prices. But first of all, so the Waldorf Astoria, $1,400 total. So this is for 2 nights, right? So it's $576 a night. or 57,000 points, which is about, roughly 1 cent per point. But you get the Hotel Collection Resort. So you also get Conrad Orlando. This one's $600 a night, which is actually a little high for what that one's been going at. I think it's been around 500 for like the non-cancelable rates. Universal Lowe's Portofino Bay Hotel. This is one of their top tier hotels. So 988 is kind of in line, I think. And then the Ritz-Carlton Grand Lakes is 949. That's comparable. Let's take a look specifically. Then of course the Four Seasons is $1,500 a night, and so that's $3,700 ish for the 2 night stay. So there's a lot of high dollar prices, and of course the Ritz Carlton residences. These are basically just like houses. But let's take a look at the Ritz Orlando World Center Marriott. So this is in the hotel collection. So we're going to take a look at this property here. So this is in Orlando. This is actually supposed to be, I think, one of the largest Marriott properties. And well, I really don't like the way that the Amex Travel website actually looks on the Chrome browser, but so it looks pretty nice. But let's get into kind of what the options are here. So let's take a look. Does it show you specifically? No. Okay, here we go. So the hotel collection benefits. So booking through this property for this credit, right, is a 12 p.m. check-in when available. Room upgrade at check-in when available. Now, I've heard some people say that you have a better chance of getting an upgrade if you don't do the base level room. So if you get like maybe a corner room or something like that, where it's like a little bit better than the base, you are more likely to get into suites with some of these upgrades. Actually, that worked for me when I stayed at the Conrad in Fort Lauderdale. I actually booked I want to say like a junior suite or something, and I got upgraded to a 1-bedroom suite, which was really nice. So, but room upgrade at check-in when available. However, there is kind of a stronger preference I've seen when I have diamond status with Hilton's, which is also supposed to give you room upgrades when available. But I've stayed at the same properties for the same kind of stays with just my diamond status and with the hotel collection, and I always seem to get more upgrades with the hotel collection than I do even with diamond status with Hilton. And then you get $100 credit towards eligible charges, and then late checkout when available. And so this late checkout can be at 4 for high. Well, it's guaranteed until 4 o'clock for fine hotels and resorts properties, which we'll get into. But late checkout could be noon, could be 2 o'clock. It's kind of on a discretionary basis for the property. So what we're going to do is I want to take a look at, first of all, the kind of rooms that are available. And one of the things I do like about the fine hotels and the hotel collection room rates is that these hotel rooms are flexible cancellation. So most of the time, if they show you a room rate, they'll show you the actual cancellation date. So this one, it can be canceled until October 11th. And of course, I think what was the check-in date that we were looking for? It was specifically, I forgot. So Thursday, October 16th. So 5 days before check-in, you can cancel with this room rate. And this is the cheapest rate that they're offering. So we're going to go to Marriott. And so we're actually going to go ahead and see what this property looks like on these dates. So we're looking at October 16th through the 18th of this year. So let's go ahead and search. All right, so 2 nights. We're going to go ahead and just do no points. I'm not going to log in for the time being just to see what that looks like. All right, so we got a couple different ones. Let's go ahead and look for the World Center Marriott, which is usually kind of closer down a little bit. That wasn't it, was it? No. Let's see if I can amenities. Doesn't really do anything. Okay, that doesn't really narrow it down. All right. Brands. Okay, let's do Marriott brand, apply. There we go. Let's narrow that down a little bit. Okay, so we are looking for the World Center Marriott again, if you're just now visiting us. So we're comparing the rates on Marriott's direct website to, let's see. Oh, it's not here. Okay. To Marriott's own. There we go. Okay, so this is $375 a night. Now let's take a look at what that actually entails. So this is one of the larger. It's supposed to be actually one of the biggest Marriotts in the world, supposedly. So this is a guest room king, and this is $375 a night. So if we were to take a look at this, this is flexible. So this one supposedly is cancelable. And we can do the member rate because assuming we are, and if you're not a member, it's completely free to become just a regular base member tier. And so this is $3.99 for the flexible room rate, and so free cancellation on or before October 11th. So this is the rate that FHR or THC is giving us. Vincent saying, "Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. You are awesome." So we're comparing this rate in particular. Now, if you prepay, right, you can prepay and no changes is $375 a night. However, if we go to our hotel details, we're looking at, I need to do a king. So room, one king bed, flexible cancellation is $360 for a night. So if we take a look at Marriott, again, that's $399 for the member rate for that same rate on that same room for the same date. And so you're being a Marriott member, you're still actually paying more than if you were to book directly with American Express Travel. And so again, the flexible cancellation is the exact same. The only thing that's different is that this is going to be cheaper. Now, what is kind of sad here is that if you take a look at this points valuation, that's 52,000 average per night, excluding taxes and fees. So that's actually going to be significantly less than 1 cent per point. So I do not recommend that. But if you are doing a cash rate and you're looking to, say, get that $300 credit or that $200 credit currently, you can actually save a decent amount of money because, well, $399 is higher than the $364 we can get through here. And so that's going to be a big deal. So let's take a look here. I want to go up to the Waldorf Astoria in Orlando. So I've stayed there a couple of nights. It's really great. But let's go ahead and take a look. So I know that this is in the fine hotels and resorts part. So we're going to compare the benefits a little bit. So this is fine hotels and resorts. So more to enjoy as a platinum member. You'll receive this exclusive suite of benefits. All right. So room upgrade upon arrival when available. Again, if you do something more than just the base room, you're probably more likely to actually be able to get an upgrade. So daily breakfast for 2 people. So the daily breakfast at the Waldorf here in Orlando, it's about $50 per person. And so that's $100 if you do have the free breakfast. And it's actually a really nice buffet. If you are doing it, that's definitely something that I would recommend getting. You also get guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout. And so one of the great things about this hotel is it actually shares the lazy river with a, I forgot what the other Hilton property is, but next door. So you can actually you have an entire pool day and then go back to the room, shower, and take care of all those wonderful things. And, that way you are totally fine with this guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout. Then we have noon check-in when available, and that's pretty much usually available, but it's also pretty available if you're a Hilton Diamond member like me. And then complimentary Wi-Fi, which, sure. And then experience credit, such as food, spa or food or beverage credit. And so they have, it's a Waldorf, so the Peacock Alley kind of bar area has some really great drinks and some great bar snacks. And so that is definitely worth considering. Let's get into the room rates, though. So these are a lot of benefits. Are you going to be paying more here than with Hilton directly? So let's get into what the room rates are. So we're just going to go for the basic room. So this is deluxe bed, 1 king bed. Actually, I'm just going to do the non-accessible one just so we can compare everything. Okay. Oh, that's a Disney view. Okay. Let's go ahead and compare deluxe room, 1 king bed, Disney view. So Disney view is basically promising essentially fireworks views, right? Because if you have a view of Disney, you have a view of the fireworks. So this one here, flexible cancellation till 10/11, $503 a night. So if we go to, let's see, that's Hyatt. We're going to go to Hilton, and we're going to look at Orlando here. And I think we were looking at October 16th through the 18th. So we're going to do that 2-night stay. Let's find a hotel. Mike Newland brings up a great point. So Wi-Fi to me is not a benefit. It's part of everyday business. Should be expected at that price point. I agree. Hotels need to have free Wi-Fi at this point. It is not something that's like special that you're just like, oh, like, you're doing me some big favor by letting me commit, actually could get connected. So I definitely agree, Mike. That's not really a benefit that I'm like, yeah, that's got to be something that's for me. What I am going to do when I'm searching, I'm going to go search for resort. Fun fact, if you have the Aspire card, you can kind of use this as a cheat sheet. However, check that against the actual Aspire rate, because sometimes those two things are not the same. Let's see. I'm still looking for the Waldorf. Sorry, my voice just cracked. All right. I'm sure I missed it. There's the Conrad. There's Evermore Resort. Ah, there it is. All right, so let's take a look at the Waldorf here. So this is, again, cash rates directly with Hilton. We're going to, I think we were looking at a deluxe room, one king bed, Disney view. So let's take a look at that. So Disney view, one king bed. All right, so let's take a look at the rates. All right, so it's already looking like, again, this is going to be cheaper. So we're going to look at the flexible rate, change or cancel by October 11th. And so that's the reason why we're kind of we could do semi-flex, save a little bit, but I just want to make sure we're comparing apples to apples here. So the flexible rate, if you have the honors discount, is $726 per night if I were to book this directly with Hilton. And I am logged into my Diamond account at the moment. So again, let's take a look here. That same room is $503 a night. Now, $500 is still expensive, but it's definitely cheaper than $700. And so this is directly on Hilton's website, the flexible rate. So it's the exact same room rate for the exact same room, and then $726. So this is why, I'm from the perspective of Fine Hotels and Resorts, and the hotel collection is kind of insane if you're going to be paying cash rates for rooms, right? And so I'm someone, when it comes to like points and miles, basically it's important for me to, first of all, prioritize value with those miles. And so what that means for me is I like to prioritize my points for, high dollar, like business class bookings for flights when I'm traveling overseas. And then what I like to do is just like pay cash for rooms and kind of use my money towards that. So, basically, I would be more likely to actually pay cash, the cash rate for a room. So that's important. James, hey there, Phillip. Happy Saturday. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Happy Saturday to you as well. So the Fine Hotels and Resorts credit. So now it's going up, and I am kind of thrilled about this because, first of all, in a lot of different places that I actually kind of do staycations at, because we have a lot of nice resorts in Orlando, and it's not bad to get away for, a couple days or like an extended weekend or something. And having all these benefits is really kind of incredible for me, especially because it's actually cheaper than some of these rates that I'm already getting. And so that's kind of a big deal for me. Now, again, we're getting some more people in the stream. So if you are interested in actually having me search for your areas, we can definitely do that. Just put a city in the chat, and we'll kind of compare some of these rates. But let's go back, because I want to just pick kind of a random city just to talk about. So let's do somewhere that I stayed at recently. So let's go to Louisville. So we're going to go to Louisville, Kentucky, at least virtually. We're going to pick the same dates just for grins and giggles. I'm going to have to really re-log back in. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. And then Austin, Texas. So Mike wants to go check out Austin, Texas. Let's do that. But just let me sign in real quick, and then we will do that. That's one of the things. If you are doing FHR a lot, Safari works a lot better on Macs than Chrome does for some reason. That's also true of Virgin Atlantic's website too. All right, so let's go ahead and search Austin, Texas. So I'm kind of going in kind of blind here. I don't really know anything about Austin, and so we'll see what we're looking at. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just research for Austin, Texas. All right. So there we go. We're going to update that. All right, so wow, you have some options here. You could stay at the Miraval if you want. You could stay at the Lauren Hotel Austin if you really want to spend $1,600 a night. There's the Driscoll, an Unbound Collection by Hyatt. That could be a really nice option as well. And then the Fairmont. The Fairmonts are always pretty good options. Fun fact, Core Live Limited is actually a pretty good program. And a very good program for earning, because you can actually you can transfer those points to like Air France and a number of other partners. Hyatt Centric. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Hyatt Centric here. So the Hyatt Centric for October 16th through the 18th is $899 per night in the hotel collection. So this is, we'll take a look at what we're actually dealing with here. So first of all, the hotel collection, some of the hotels in the hotel collection give you free breakfast. This one does not appear to. So it looks like it's pretty standard across the board here. So let's take a look at room, one king bed. So this is a non-refundable room rate for $8.99. All right, so now if you go further down, you could actually see that for a refundable room rate. But we're going to stick with the non-refundable rate and just see what we can see. So it's $8.99 a night, room, one king bed, non-refundable. So let's go over to Hyatt and let's do Austin, Texas. I didn't realize hotels were expensive as they were in Austin, Texas. That's kind of crazy. Which I guess, I mean, that makes sense. It's kind of a larger city. But I was like, wow. And I saw a lot of different things that looked pretty expensive. Mike actually says the Driscoll is a known haunted hotel. That's pretty cool, actually. I was watching a Ryan Trahan video not too long ago where he went into a couple of haunted hotels, and that was really interesting. Okay, Hyatt Centric. I want to make sure I'm comparing. This was the one on Congress Avenue. All right, we don't need to scan that QR code. All right, so let's take a look at the rates here. So that's, it looks like I defaulted to points, sorry. Still, 23,000 Hyatt points for that room is not bad. Okay, so Wing King bed. So we look at the member rate here. So if we were to select and book here, the standard rate. All right, so there isn't really actually anything better than, so this is non-refundable. Okay, so the member rate non-refundable is $886. So that is great. Okay, so let's take a look here at this room. So room one king, so $899. So if you take a look, that's actually going to be a little bit cheaper to book directly with Hyatt. And so when you're thinking about that, that $100 actual resort credit, maybe not as worth $100, right? So that's kind of a big deal. So it's it really is kind of hit or miss, right? You have to take a look and compare the live rate versus what's actually going on. So let's take a look here. Check the Fairmont. Okay, yeah, we can check the Fairmont. And then, of course, LG1914, we love your questions. Please feel free to drop them, but we definitely will get to you before we do that. All right, so we're going to go into the Fairmont now. So this one here is showing $12.90. So that one seems like that could be pretty intense. So let's do a Fairmont. Do they have a website directly, or is it through just ALL? Fairmont. There we go. Okay. So yeah, Hilton hotels in Fairmont. Fun fact: 2.5x on Rakuten. That seems really nice. Okay, so we're gonna do Austin, Texas. All right, and then check in. Let's do October 16th through the 18th. And then check rates. All right, so while we're doing that, let's go ahead and see what this is. Now, this one does not have free breakfast, so it's in the hotel collection. So you get that $100 property credit. Let's take a look here. Room, a deluxe room, one king bed, non-refundable rate is $1,290 a night. So that is crazy. So that is really expensive. But honestly, I honestly probably would pay to stay at a Fairmont. The Fairmont in Georgetown in Washington, D.C. actually looks like it would be really cool. So Deluxe One King. So this is the same rate, it looks like. Okay, that doesn't give me anything. So that one is $11.31 USD. So that's actually really... So it's actually really cheaper to book directly. So $11.30, so that's, what, $170 difference. Ish. Yeah, it's a little bit of money difference, but yeah, so you will be paying more for this non-refundable rate. Now, if you were interested in actually staying on, staying with points, October 16th through the 18th of this year. So there's not a whole lot of headroom. Maybe there's something going on in Austin on those dates because it definitely seems like they're high. It definitely does seem high to me. Let me see if I can pick a different date and see if that changes anything for I'll just pick middle of November for another 2 nights. So November 10th through the 12th. Oh yeah, it could be. So let's go ahead and update that and just take a look at this rate here. So there's a Commodore, Marival, Lauren, Four Seasons. Four Seasons is gonna be nice too. Hotel Van Zant, Thompson. Oh, I think am I still? I'm still in Austin, right? Yeah. That is weird. It looks like it's there's a Fairmont. Okay. Oh yeah, 465. Okay. So this is a little bit different. That is it must be for F1. I would say that is wild. I was wondering why so many of those rooms in Austin were expensive. So okay. So this one here is 465 and this one has flexible cancellation until looks like 3 days before check-in. Let's take a look at that same rate or same. I think we did the 10th through the 12th, right? Yeah, 10th through the 12th. Update search. I'm going to go to Accor Live Limitless and see if I can book it through there too. All right, so this is $407 average per night. Includes $35 US dollar daily urban experience fee. I wonder what an urban experience is. But it's a Fairmont, so that's maybe your driver takes you around the city and shows you the transit station. Okay, so we're looking at 465 on FHR and then 407 for by booking directly. So this one here, it depends on if you get an upgrade, right? So if you get an upgrade, I would say I would prefer to use the FHR rate, but $300 off of that, if it's actually, significantly cheaper. So what was it, like 60 something dollars? So 465, 400. Yeah. So about close to $60 more expensive per night. So that's $120 ish for the stay, for the 2-night stay. You're definitely not getting that value from that room credit, right, or the property credit. So because you're paying more for that privilege. So if you were to actually get an upgrade, then I could see that being worthwhile. But I don't know. So let's go take a look at Accor Live Limitless. I forgot because I think you can book Fairmonts directly through here. So I want to see if that has any difference, just because I know they're kind of interesting. So we're going to look in Austin, Texas. And I think we were looking at November 10th through 11th. So let's take a look there real quick. And you can get Rakuten 2X on Accor Live Limitless. All right, so the Fairmont Austin. Okay, so this one is surprisingly actually more expensive. So let's see. I wonder if they just don't have the rooms, the same rooms that are available. So no, it's the Fairmont One King. Okay, so this is 2 nights, so 977. Okay, so it's for the 2 nights. So they're just booking it differently. That's why it looks weird. Okay, so let's take a look. Choose this room. All right, let's see the card details. So endless summer memories. So save from 10% off. Of course, VAT tax. That's hilarious. And then fees, so 977 for the 2 nights. Okay, so if we were to book with, it would be. So it's a little bit more expensive to book there, and then through the Accor or for the Fine Hotels and Resorts, it's $11.99. So it's actually cheaper still to book through Accor. So I'm not sure what they're doing on the back end. Oh, it looks like they have 10% off, and then the cancellation is kind of a little wonky. It looks like. So that's interesting. Okay, so you can still save some money. Now, the points with Accor Live Limitless, so you can actually book this directly. And you can actually either pay with points at checkout, it sounds like. I actually haven't done this directly. But so I think one Accor point is worth 2 euro cents. So it's not quite, exactly 2 USD cents, but it's pretty similar. And of course, you can pay for late checkout and all those fun things. So we're going to skip this step. And I think you can actually book it either. You can actually pay for points at booking or, yeah, okay. Yeah. So, okay. So this would be the point where you could pay with points if I was signed in, but I'm not going to. Okay. So you could actually use this to book with points, but it looks like for this particular date, it actually would make more sense to book directly through Fairmont, just because that's the cheapest rate. So, and of course, the Fine Hotels and Resorts rate or the hotel collection is about $60 more. So that is, I would say for this particular property, I would rather book direct. Even though I don't really have, status with Fairmont or with Accor. So, some of these things are good. Some of these things can be kind of difficult to get value from, right? So you have to see. So for what's weird, though, in the 2 instances that we looked at in Orlando, both of those options were cheaper through the the Fine Hotels and Resorts option, which was really interesting. So I want to go back through the comments section. So we talked to James, we talked about Austin, Texas. And then, of course, LG 1914. Thanks for being here. Hope all is well. If you finish presenting about Amex, would it be okay if I ask a question before you get off the live? Yeah, absolutely. Ask away. We love questions because that gives us something fun to talk to. And actually, one of the things that I love is that I have a friend of mine who's just getting into the credit card hobby, and I love when he asks me questions about what's going on because his perspective is so unique and so refreshing that it's like, okay, great. It's like approaches some of these questions from something that like I wouldn't have even thought about approaching, and just having that different perspective, and it allows you to kind of think through things in a different way, which is really huge. So thank you so much. But yeah, honestly, I would love to stay at a Fairmont hotel. Like the one in Georgetown is probably the one that's like closer on my bucket list, but there's one in Banff, I think, right in Canada that looks really good, and I think that one would be really really incredible to do. Okay, so Chad's Money Minutes is in. Yo, what's up? Thank you so much for being here. You are awesome. I'm kind of tinkering around with going a little bit later in the day. And, and so we'll see how that goes for us. So, yeah, so we were looking at the Fine Hotels and Resorts. I'm kind of excited by this change. Let me know what you guys think. Is it good that, that the Fine Hotels and Resorts credit is increasing? Like, what do you think that means? So, two things could be happening, right? So they could be getting rid of some credits. And to be fair, there's a bunch of credits that they kind of should get rid of, right? So the Equinox credit, I think, is not one that's widely liked by a lot of different people. And so I think as long as that kind of goes around, then that could be helpful, or goes away. That could be helpful because like not a whole lot of people get value from that. And I think, that's really the only one. Tax credit, I think, might be going away. So if you do want to use that tax credit, I would probably use it before September 17th or 18th. We can get into that as well if you guys want to. Mike Newland says, as long as it doesn't require a 2-night stay. Yeah. So Fine Hotels and Resorts is I love it because, I'm in Orlando. And I say that a lot, sorry. But being able to just like spend the weekend at a nice property that everyone kind of aspires to go to for, their lives is really cool. And so being able to use this credit to stay one night at, say, a Waldorf or a Conrad and get a significant discount off, or at least, prepay for a significant discount, however you look at that annual fee, is really, really nice. And so being able to, or having to do 2 nights minimum for Fine Hotels and Resorts could be kind of a bummer, just because that would mean that like I'd have to get a day off of work or something and like, just kind of work through that. So yeah, that I definitely could see like that would encourage a little bit more breakage if they do that. Now currently the hotel collection requires at least 2 nights. And so that's important to note as well. So that is, that's great. Chad's Money Mint says, what's up, Mike? So yeah, I'm glad you guys are here. This actually is a really good question. I do like this. So maybe they will raise the multiplier on it when you book through the portal, which could have helped offset if they do require 2-night stay. So yeah, so on the regular platinum card, let me go into my wallet and pick it out. So I ended up getting kind of the artsy one, and honestly, I kind of hate it. Actually, it's textured, which I wasn't really expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it's not my favorite. But this one gets 5 points per dollar on airfare, first of all, either booked directly or through the portal, and then 5 points per dollar on prepaid room rates through Amex Travel. And so honestly, it would be better if that multiplier were higher, right? Especially with the portal requirement. So the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the new version, gets you 4 points per dollar on any hotel, right? And but it also gets you, let's see, I think, what does the Sapphire Reserve get you? It's, I think, is it 7 or something? Reserve multipliers. All right. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Let's just go to Chase. Okay, so it's 8 points through Chase Travel. So that's kind of nice. So 8 points per dollar on the same thing with Chase. Now, those Chase points are really nice with the Hyatt, transfers, United, things like that. So being able to earn more Amex points for having to use the Amex portal would be really nice. If I got 8 points for using the portal, yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I would be doing it a lot more. So that's a solid point. I would like to see them do some different multipliers. Like one of the things I love about my business platinum is that it gets you 1.5x on purchases over $5,000. If the platinum card were to give you something like that, I feel like that would be kind of good, especially like if they didn't want to make a personal card that earns more for every purchase. I feel like 1.5x on a platinum might be cool, but I don't know. Like it depends on how many people just spend on the platinum because that's the card they think they need to have. And well, Amex makes a lot of money off of that particular thing. So I don't know if they are going to toy around with that much, but that would be good to consider. All right, LG 1914. So I was surprisingly approved for the Venture X. Great job. That is amazing. That is really, really great. And I have the Quicksilver, and I'm hoping for a product change to the Saver. But do you recommend another card to pair with it? Okay, that's a really good question. So it really depends on who you want to travel with. So if you're going to travel, are you going to travel domestically or are you going to travel internationally, right? And so if you are going to be traveling in a certain way, so like my transfer partners, when I try to go overseas, I'm most likely going to transfer to Air France or Virgin, maybe Cathay Pacific. I'm trying to look for some really great options with British Airways. And so, those are really great because they're kind of partnered with everybody. So a Chase Point will transfer to them, a City Point will transfer to them, Capital One and American Express. And so what that means is like my go-to wallet right now is my gold card for food. And then I do my venture card for everyday shopping. Let's see if I have it with me. Yep, I do have it with me. So I use my venture card for everyday shopping. And so basically I am earning in two different ecosystems, but there are two different ecosystems that can kind of come together pretty easily. And so that's kind of how I make that work. Now, I will say I really enjoy the Saver card. So I'm going to go into my extra wallet here. If you do want an extra wallet, 10% off in the description below, and pull out my Saver card. I have been using my Saver card more because I'm trying to increase my Capital One credit limits. And so that's something that I'm really interested in doing. So I'm using my venture card. I'm using my Saver card. They really do go very well together because like, you have a card for everything, right? So, and I know you have the Venture X. I don't have the Venture X, but having the Visa Infinite protections is really nice. Having access to the the lounges is nice. Through Priority Pass, and then the Capital One lounges are really great. If you're in an airport that has Capital One lounges, that's really solid. So, if you want to, you could do the Saver or you could do the Gold card. You could even do maybe like the City Strat Premier if you are interested in doing Air France or Virgin Atlantic, but I don't know, that it really depends on, first of all, how much you spend on gas versus entertainment, or and kind of how much. Like if you want to be in one ecosystem, the Saver card is really solid in my opinion. But Capital One is kind of weird when it comes to product upgrades, and that's what they call it. It's not a product change, it's a product upgrade, even if you're going from the Venture X to the Quicksilver One card, right? So that's that. Okay, Sleepy Rod. To be honest, I'm not expecting a change in the multipliers for the Platinum. I think they'll probably keep it where it is and add more credits. Honestly, I think you might be right, Sleepy Rod, on that one, just because it's what I want to happen. And so I feel like that's kind of like a rule then that means that the bank's not going to do it, right? So the multipliers, I feel like they are feeling some market pressure to change, right? Because the portal multipliers on the Strata Elite are so high. The portal multipliers on the Sapphire Reserve are so much higher than on the Platinum card. And so I feel like they're kind of feeling that little market pressure. So they may actually have to, because, if you have the Sapphire Reserve card and you're kind of becoming one of those people that has to choose between one or the other, if you spend enough, you may have to choose the one that earns more. All other things being more or less equal. And so, I'm hoping they're feeling that pressure, but unfortunately, I feel like you might be on the right track with that one, Sleepy Rod, but I'm really hoping you're wrong. So we'll see. Mike Newland, if they don't raise the multiplier on shopping through the portal, then they should give us multiplier for the annual fee. Oh, there you go. Yeah, okay, that's smart. Earn a little bit for paying that annual fee because that will be kind of substantial. What do you guys think the annual fee is going to be? So I made a video, I guess Thursday, talking about what I thought the annual fee was. I feel like it has to be more. So basically, the current rumor is, Danny the Deal Guru shared a Reddit post talking about the fact that the annual fee was expected to be $8.95, and that's kind of where we've landed as a community because we were like, oh, okay, it's not going to be so bad. We can do $8.95. So we've tried to kind of will it into existence by saying it's $8.95, but I feel like with this new portal, with this new kind of portal credit, that's just so much more value than what is currently offered. I just feel like they're kind of gearing us up for something that's, well, a little bit more. I don't know. What do you guys think? While you guys are kind of sharing your viewpoints, we can get into kind of the other news. So we talked a little bit about our the hotel stays and everything. We talked about Austin, Texas. We talked about Orlando, comparing FHR to booking directly. We talked a little bit about the Sapphire Reserve card. Let's take a look at Alaska's new reward card. Okay, so Sleepy Rod here has an opinion before we get there, though. If they added 1.5x to the Platinum, it would be a game changer. I spend it for the protection. Absolutely, yes. The Platinum card would be my favorite overnight, right? So, and it kind of brings the question, right? When would you rather do 1.5 over 2x, right? So the venture card is 2x, the Blue Business Plus is 2x up to $50,000, and then 1.5x after that. So it's clear that American Express is fine with having unlimited purchases up to 1.5x, right? So having that on the Platinum card could be quite nice. I definitely would use that a lot more than I currently do because it does have those nice protections, right? The purchase protections, the return protections, things like that. That's really, really nice. And even honestly, 1x, like when I'm renting a car, right? I'm pretty much either going to use my Platinum card or my or my Ritz-Carlton card, right? And the Ritz-Carlton at least earns 3x on Marriott points on rental car purchases, which is kind of nice, especially since that, it has really great rental car protections, right? It has primary CDW up to $75,000. And so that's just really becoming kind of so much better than the industry. With the Platinum card, if I were to use it, not only do I not get a higher multiplier, I'm only getting 1x, but I have to pay more in order to get that primary CDW because you have to get the premium rental car protection coverage. And so that's kind of a big deal. And so if I had 1.5x, yeah, I probably would use my Platinum card more for rental cars than my Ritz-Carlton card, for example. So that's good to know. Mike Newland, I think if they put a 1.5x multiplier on it, they're going to expect us to spend $150K to meet lounge access criteria. Yeah, so that's a good point, right? So more people are going to want to put more spend on that card, and so it's possible that they will move that from, I think it's 75,000 now a year to 150,000. Okay, yeah. So with the 75,000, you get, first of all, unlimited access to Sky Clubs, but then you get unlimited guest access privileges to the Centurion Lounge. And so the thing is, though, I feel like most people aren't planning on making that spend. So what those people do is instead they get an authorized user card. And so for $195, I don't have to put $75,000 in spend over that, over on that Platinum card. I can put it on a card that makes more sense for. And so, yeah, they definitely could do that. But I don't know, like how they're like this. The sidecar lounges are interesting to me. So the sidecar lounges kind of tell me that more and more people are kind of interested in, at least in Amex, in kind of expanding access to lounges, right? So if I feel like if their philosophy on this was to limit exposure to lounges, I feel like we wouldn't have people working on sidecar lounges. So there's kind of doing a stratification of the lounge experience, but it's not based on access, it's based on need, right? So the sidecar lounges are based on if you're someone who, say, doesn't have that much of a layover, right? Or you're trying to stay closer to a gate, the sidecar lounge is going to be a little bit better for you, right? And so I think that's a great idea. It's a great indicator that they're kind of focusing not on restriction of access, but stratification of needs and how they can meet those needs, which is kind of encouraging. It feels to me like they're not going to try to work that hard to. All right, I think I'm back. I don't know what happened with our internet. Sorry about that. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. If you can, let me know. We're actually streaming on my iPad, so let me know how that goes. Okay, great. Okay, yeah. So the lounge access could be good. Okay, good. Thanks, Cardi. I appreciate you. All right, so let's go ahead. Background balloon says yo. That's really great. All right. So Cardi says CSR increase was okay. There we go. CSR increase was 795 over 550, so what 1.445% increase. If plat is the same, be a little bit over $1,000. So guessing 995 if they're paying $600 for FHR plus other new things, it needs to be. All right, and I'm back. Okay, so we're back on Wi-Fi, so I don't know what happened there. All right, thanks so much for staying with me through this little hiccup. Yeah, so Cardi, I think you're right. I think the annual definitely probably will be close to around 1,000, if not a little bit more than that. So, that's kind of a bummer, but it makes sense if you get that value back to me. Okay, Sam H. It would be nice if Amex adds 2x on global dining. Okay. So that would be nice because I get what you're saying. So the Sapphire Lounge has the travel multipliers, but it also has the dining multipliers, and so you get one card where you can just use it, right? So if you can use that card, you can. It makes sense to use it for travel purchases and for and for the dining purchase, which is nice, right? So that is a nice. That's nice, right? Okay. Um, Sorry about that. Still learning the lingo, but I'm learning a lot from you and the other guys. Oh, yeah. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you asking all those questions. And I've been eyeballing the gold card, as you said. I've never transferred points before, is my concern. Yeah. So if you're someone who's not sure that you are completely into transferring points out, right? It would make more sense from my perspective. And again, I don't know anything more about you, LG1914, other than what you've shared here, right? It seems like if you're not certain of your ability to be able to find value of transfer partners, maybe start with a point currency that allows you to either transfer to partners or to cash out. And so, it may be better to consider either. So, one of the great things about if you wanted to, like, Capital One has a decent cashback setup, right? You can get cashback on the Saver card, 3x on dining, entertainment, and groceries, and then 1.5x on everything else with a Quicksilver card. So that is an option. And then if you want to stockpile that cash back down the road and you get you actually, I think you said you had the venture, right? You can actually transfer those cashback rewards to the venture miles, and then you can transfer them out, or you can actually keep them in the Quicksilver or the Saver card and then cash those out actually. So that's an option. Chase is also really an option for that too. So Chase doesn't actually currently penalize you for cashing out anything. So all your ultimate reward points can be cashed out for 1 cent per point. So that is really nice. And so, but with those Chase points, you can transfer them out to hotel partners, for airfare partners, things like that. And so but we can also get into how to find transfer partners, right? So there's really all sorts of really great deals, and I can get into. I got into one on my members only video this morning, but I can get into another one as well down the road. We'll discuss that. Cardi's saying, I'm back. Thank you. Mike Newland, I thought that was my internet because I'm driving. No, just mine apparently. So I live in the currently being developed part of Western Orlando, and so we have a lot of kind of older like power and older internet access and things like that, and so they go out quite a bit. And whenever it rains, and well, it rains quite a lot in Florida. LG 1914, only Amex I have is a Surpass, which I still love. Yeah, the Surpass. If you're going to have a non general point spending or point earning card, the Surpass is probably going to get you the best bang for your buck. Because first of all, well, it's free the first year, that $150 is waived, which is really awesome. But it also gets you Hilton Gold status, which gets you a lot of fun goodies like the free food credits and things like that. And so that's really nice. And so if you are someone who is in the Hilton ecosystem, I can find some value with transferring those Amex points 1 to 2 to Hilton. I try to be very selective about that because it's very easy to not get value when you do that through Hilton. So, if I'm doing that, it's because I know that I'm staying at, say, the Conrad in New York or the Waldorf in New York, and that room rate is $1,500, but I can get it for 90,000 points or 45,000 Amex points, right? So when I'm being deliberate about that sort of thing, it makes sense. It can make sense to do it with Hilton. But if you're just staying at like a Hampton Inn on the side of the highway, I definitely wouldn't use my Amex points for that. Okay, Mike Newland again, internet, sorry. Hopefully things are continuing to be better, which is really nice. Background balloon. Oof, your service provider has something against you. I certainly hope not, because I actually work for my service provider. So hopefully I still have a job by the time I finish this, so I can keep my house. Sleepy Ride, I think if they're making FHR too nice, then it makes sense if the fee stays $8.95. Oh, okay. So you're thinking a little bit of breakage. Maybe some people don't actually cash out on the full $600, and then that way there's less pressure to use the full $600. Okay, that makes sense. Actually, Sleepy Rod, I can see that being the thing. Maybe we should be watching your live. Honestly, that really definitely seems to make sense for me. Same H, there's rumors about JP Morgan Chase and Amex building portfolio for entry-level invitation tier cards. I'm assuming that's JP Morgan, right? And Amex building portfolio for entry-level invitation tier card. So I guess I'm confused. What is an invitation tier card? I'm gonna have to Google that actually. Is that like the Centurion stuff and the JP Morgan Reserve? Is that what we're talking about? Okay. All right. So there's rumors about Amex building. Okay. That actually would be interesting because so Amex has widely been kind of talking about, well, it's kind of an open secret that they're talking about, a card that's higher than the Platinum, but not as high as the Centurion, right? And that presumably would be either invitation only or would just have a much higher, on a much higher kind of, I'm sorry, I forgot what I was talking about. We were talking about, so higher annual fee would probably mean that, fewer people would sign up for it or be able to sign up for it. So yeah, so I feel like that would be interesting. Because JP Morgan kind of has their own little thing. They have the JP Morgan Reserve. And what's interesting is with the Ritz-Carlton, you actually get access to the JP Morgan customer support line. So it's a completely separate line from just Chase support, which is really nice. And so they are enough of a separate business entity that they could happen. I feel like that would be I feel like that would maybe be too much kind of inter-business mingling, but it's intriguing. That is really intriguing because I feel like there's enough interest in invitation only cards that I feel like that could do well. All right, Sam H confirmed. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we were talking about. Yeah. I asked a buddy of mine. So, a friend of mine, I asked actually, so he, is someone who uses the Platinum card for most of his spending. And I asked him if he was doing it because he was interested in the Centurion, card, and because his spending and his income could conceivably be in that area, right? And he was fine with just doing the Platinum card. Like he wasn't actually doing that for a reason. It was just because that's the way he wanted, he just wanted the benefits, and that's the card that he has. So there's a lot of people that don't really care about getting that sort of value. but do want something maybe a little bit more kind of just getting it for the exclusivity feel for it, right? Okay, background balloon. LOL, Amex doesn't have a welcome offer on the Surpass. If you go on the public page, do they really not? I'm going to have to take a look at this. All right, American Express, .com. All right, so let's go ahead and investigate this. I gotta, not that I don't believe you about background balloon, but I definitely want to see this for myself to check that, because that really is surprising. Whoa, actually, okay, yeah. So I'm seeing one, 130,000 Hilton Honors bonus. So maybe what we're talking about, background balloon, is that because they recently just changed it over from the higher sign-on bonus to the regular one. So maybe you were looking at a version of the page that that maybe wasn't refreshed right. So maybe it was a cached page or something that didn't have the new one. Maybe refresh it and see if that's there. Yeah, that's really interesting. But yeah, so this is 130,000 Surpass card. The Surpass card, though, is really solid, honestly. I don't currently have the Surpass card. I did actually just recently get the American Express Hilton Honors card, just the base one. Yeah, same H, incognito it. Yeah, that's a great idea. Who knows what kind of actual sign-up bonus you get with that? But yeah, you get, and then of course the quarterly credits with Hilton are actually relatively easy to use. I know some people in credit card YouTube like to talk about getting gift cards, and it was nice while they were still for sale. But you can bank that value pretty easily if you like pre-book for like one night of a 2 or 3 night stay that you're doing next quarter or the quarter after that. It's not too difficult. There are some hoops to book through or to work through, clearly, but it's not too terribly difficult to get value from. But so the free night award is nice when you spend $15,000 on a card. So I've heard of some people actually pairing the Surpass card with the Aspire card. So you use the Aspire card for getting the free night award and diamond status, and then I've heard of some people just spending $15,000 on the Surpass to get the second one, right? All right. So you write, non-incognito Chrome has been trolling me a lot lately. Yeah, it's funny. So I actually, my day job is running a website, and it's difficult sometimes for those changes to actually kind of show through, specifically with Chrome. It's just something with their, with the way that they like take cookies and things like that. But yeah, so good. It's good at showing. Are you going to sign up for it? Background balloon? It's 130,000 isn't a terrible offer, especially with the Hilton cards. They do have a lot of no lifetime language. It's Sam H. Sam H says Amex loves trolling. Yeah, pretty much. And this one actually, so I got recently the 100,000.1 point sign up bonus with the I think it was a statement credit of sorts or something like that. So I got that, and it's actually still in the mail. I don't have it yet, so I'm not going to do a video about it until I actually have the physical card. But this is the card that I got after I actually canceled my Hilton business card, which was really nice. It earns 5 points on everything with no limits. But just having multiple cards with those Hilton quarterly credits is kind of a big deal. Okay. Let's see, background balloon. Half the stuff at work wouldn't load on regular Chrome, so I had to adjust to using Firefox for work purposes. Yeah, that's a big deal. So Safari seems to do okay sometimes if you're on a Max, but Firefox seems to do a little bit better. Now I just got the regular Hilton Honors when it was elevated last week. Yeah, that I wonder how many people got that, because I definitely actually just recently got that myself, and I'm not going to put that much spend on it because, it earns, right? So it gets 5 points on dining, which isn't terrible, but I think my Aspire gets 7. It earns 5 points per dollar in groceries, which isn't terrible. And again, this is a no annual fee card. That's not bad. 5 points on gas. So if you're someone who values Hilton points, that could be 5x on gas if you are only staying using those points for high dollar Hilton redemptions, right? So that could be an option. And then 3 points per dollar on everything else. So that's not terrible. You get silver status, which is not really enough to do anything. It gives you more higher kind of loyalty bonuses for when you actually pay for stays. So that is important. So Keith has a great point. So I can't see myself keeping multiple high annual fee travel cards. 2026 is the year that I'm deciding which lounge card that I'm keeping. I currently have the CSR, the Plat Business, and the Venture X. Keith, I'm with you, honestly. Um, it's the fatigue is real. So I'm currently on the personal platinum. I'm on the business platinum. I also have the Ritz Carlton card, and I have the let's see, where is that? That's not that card. And I also have the Aspire card. So I have a decent amount of cards that actually give me really high dollar status. So between each of these, well, I mean, the Aspire card gets you Hilton lounge access, just it doesn't get you airport lounge access. But I have like four cards now that have kind of insane annual fees, and it's kind of hard because I get value from the Hilton Aspire card because Hilton is my primary, Hilton hotel chain, right? So I like Hilton's. They're kind of my primary. So the Aspire is nice, and with the free night award, it's worth it to keep. The Ritz Carlton I like because we go through a decent amount of Chase Sapphire lounges, and it's a great way to kind of buy that 85,000 free night award at the lowest rate on the market, right? So if you have the Bonvoy Brilliant, it's 650, but you get that $300 restaurant credit, right? And so you're buying that 85,000 point free night award and the platinum status for essentially $350. But with the gold or with the Ritz Carlton card, you're buying that free night award for $150, which isn't terrible. Like I'm definitely going to redeem it for far more than that. So I would, so the hotel cards they're staying. Now, the personal platinum card I can see myself keeping. The business platinum card, it probably will go away just because I don't need two, right? And the credits are a little bit harder for me to use. Now I do pay for Adobe, but I actually get the education version of it, so it's only like $200. So I'm definitely not going to trigger that one. Now I do have a subscription to Adobe Stock that might help a little bit with it, but like just having that one credit doesn't really get you that much. Now, actually, it just hit me. So while we were talking, I was trash talking the business platinum card. So the business platinum card gets you $600 now, according to this, the terms and conditions, $600 in fine hotels and resorts, as well as the platinum card. So, if I were to use, so the business platinum also gets Hilton credit, right? So that has $200 a year in Hilton credit, plus $600 a year now in FHR hotel collection credit. So the business platinum could actually be the best hotel card, at least as far as the credits go, right? Because it gets you, sorry, my voice keeps cracking. It gets you $800 in credits just in hotels if you stay at Hilton's and you use the portal. So actually, I might keep all of them. Who am I kidding? I don't have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, but that's more of a function of me just really not giving a crap about the 524 status and than anything else. Like if I could have it, maybe, but honestly, between having, because you get the same access of lounges with the Ritz Carlton card, right? You get unlimited access to Sapphire Lounge. You get unlimited guests at Sapphire Lounge. I didn't know it was unlimited. I was actually just listening to the recent edition, Friday's edition of the Frequent Miler podcast, and they were saying it's actually unlimited guests. And so I could bring, like, if I had a family of four, I could bring everybody into a Sapphire Lounge and just flash this one card. So that's kind of a big deal. So yeah, the Ritz Carlton kind of kills the Chase Sapphire Reserve in my book, but I probably wouldn't be in the market for it even if it didn't. Does that make sense? All right. Background balloon agreed. Hilton Honors, for what it's worth, works well enough, especially if you like Hilton properties. Yeah. So it's a $0 annual fee card if you are only staying at Hilton properties and you're not really caring that much about, transferring out to like airfare partners, right? So if you're someone who drives everywhere and you're just trying to get, a week's worth of free hotels a year, the Hilton Honors card is the cheapest probably way to get there, right? And so that is nice. Yeah, exactly. Sam H says premium tier cards, Amex Plat and CSR are shifting from one-stop shop to lifestyle coupon book cards. Absolutely, right? So this is like, oh, do you like this? You should like this. Like the City Strata Elite. Like I did a video, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, where we talked a little bit about the CEO, or not the CEO, the head of product or something, came on CNBC to discuss how simple their card is. And, the splurge credit's nice. The, everything else is nice, but the city night multiplier is weird. But the black lane credit, it's very, somebody has a special corporate sponsorship, and that's why that's there. And like, I get it, you can get real world value from it, but who's doing that, right? So first of all, if you're traveling for Uber, you're probably not getting Uber Black because it's just wildly expensive compared to everything else. But and then you got to open up a new app to get specific one use out of one credit. Like, I don't know. Now, I can see it if you're traveling, like if you're say you're traveling on a big international trip and you wanted to like schedule out a driver and you want it to be nice because you're trying to impress your wife or keep her happy and you have kids in tow and a bunch of bags and you want help with that. I can see that working, but I don't know. The Black Line credit just seems weird to me. Shots fired at City, I guess. So the CSR was easy to justify with its former travel category, $300 travel credit and lounges. Yeah, so the travel credit on the CSR is nice, right? It's having that on the CSR is why the Ritz Carlton is so goated, because a lot of those reps they confuse the travel credit with the airline incidental credit that's supposed to be on the Ritz Carlton card, and so that is a solid credit. The lounge access is nice, and having 3x on all travel, like, yeah, the CSR before this update was definitely kind of a no-brainer. Like, it was exactly what you want out of life, right? But now it's just you have to work a lot harder to get that value. All right, background balloon. My only annual fee card I plan on keeping is my IHG Premier. I just can't get value from other annual fee credit cards. Yeah, so the IHG Premier is nice, and I think that's the one where you actually can get that fourth night free because you have the card. Isn't that right? So that's honestly, like, if you are someone who stays at IHG, and I've heard great things about the Holiday Inns, the Holiday Inn Expresses, and things like that. But if you're staying at IHG properties, like, the main things are going to be the Kimptons, right, and things like that. And so Intercontinentals, right, those are really nice properties that I would want to stay at. And so wanting to kind of make those points go further, you kind of have to have that card. Especially if you're if you're planning on like redeeming your points or even buying points, that helps. This card helps those points go a lot further than they normally would, and so that's kind of a big deal. All right, let's take a look here at background balloons. So the Black Lane credit was so random. Yeah, I doubt many people knew it even existed until the CSE was announced. Yeah, we can actually do. Let's see, Google's search data over time, Black Lane. All right, let's see if we can see. Okay, Google Trends. Yeah, let's take a look at Google Trends and let's take a look at Black Lane, because it's all one word, I think, right? All right, let's take a look at this. I'm going to show my screen. Okay, okay, this is wild. Okay, so this is August. Let's Black Lane, United States, past day. Okay, so let's do past 90 days. All right, so yeah, so if we take a look here, you can almost exactly tell where when the City Strata Elite was announced. Let's take a look and see if we can actually. There we go. Black Lane Company. Okay, so yeah, so you can actually see on Google Trends when the City Strata Elite actually was announced. That is pretty interesting. Although it does seem to have returned to kind of normal. Most people are just like, oh, okay, it's just a credit that's there, and we're going to ignore it. Okay, yeah, Keith has a great point. But let's get into SER. So SER, just want to make sure I'm going down the chat the way it is in the chat. So just got my Aspire card and looking forward to that certificate. Yeah. Also looking forward to this Amex Plat refresh. Just found your channel. Great content, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, SER. I really, really appreciate you being here. And honestly, the Aspire card is incredible, especially for someone like me. So I live in Orlando. I say that so many times. And, but it's really easy to get use and value out of essentially, that Hilton Resort credit, right? So it's $200 every 6 months, $400 for the year, and then $60 or $50 every quarter for airline credits. It pays for itself, honestly. And then that free night award, which hits your account, the world is your oyster, right? And the great thing about this is that you can use it for any standard room availability. So that Hilton or that Waldorf Astoria in New York, the room rates start at $1,500 on the off season, right? And it's because it's new, right? It hasn't been open in 7 years. but it's 90,000 points for a standard room rate. So you're saving $1,500 if you, wow, my voice is going crazy. You're saving $1,500 if you are being able, if you're actually wanting to stay there, right? Then that's definitely worth keeping the card, like especially at 550 a year, right? That's great. Sleepy Rod Frequent Miler was theorizing that the Fritz card refresh rumors might be for next year. Yeah, honestly, I said it in my video when I was talking about the Amex business changes. The fact that one company is able to get to the point where they're actually have kind of a roadmap of what those changes would look like means that these discussions are happening. So if Amex wouldn't be able to change their Marriott cards if Chase wasn't in the room too, talking about changing their Marriott cards. And so this is the one, this will be changed definitely in the next year, because if American Express is making significant overhauls to how Marriott cards operate, right? So this is creating huge new business cards. There's only one Marriott business card right now, right? And there's only one Hilton business card right now too. But by putting so many Elite Night credits on this Brilliant business card and the Brilliant card, you could have both those cards and get really solid Marriott status, and you can earn that for life, right? If you have those cards for enough years, you just have lifetime platinum status. And so for the right person, that's a huge deal. And so, yeah, so I definitely think that Chase is part of those negotiations. Amex appears to seriously be trying to change Marriott cards. So yeah, the Ritz-Carlton is going to be a part of that. It's just a matter of whether it happens this year, next year, but it will be happening. I agree with that assessment. Keith, the Black Lane credit tells me that Citi is interested in more of these credit partnerships and the coupon book model in the future. Yeah. Right now, Citi is kind of this bastion of simpleness, right? If you're not looking for too much of a coupon book. But I think that's just where we are at this point, because everyone's taking a look at American Express and seeing how much money they're making. And as someone who holds a bunch of shares of Amex stock, right? It's great, right? They're making a lot of money. They're doing really well. Of course, banks are in the business of making money, and so they're going to do what works. It's just what Chase found out, I think, is that just copying the skeleton isn't enough, right? Just copying the idea of a coupon book isn't enough, right? So I feel like the Chase Sapphire Reserve did not go over that well. And Frequent Miler, actually, in that episode, they talked about the fact that they don't really think that the sign-up bonus will go down, despite the fact that they're saying, like, the Sapphire Reserve business, I think that's supposed to be going down in the future. But they said they think that it is coming back because they don't think that the signups were as high as they believe it should have been, right? And I kind of agree, right? There's enough people talking about how terrible it is. There's enough data points of people actually physically, kind of shutting down their Chase Sapphire Reserve accounts that I feel like it kind of makes sense. But so Citi, if they are going to do that, they need to do it in a way that makes sense. Now, the splurge credit is interesting to me because you get to pick it. Now, I would be interested to see which one of those partners gets the most splurge credit use, right? Is it going to be American Airlines? Is it going to be a Best Buy, right? I feel like those are kind of the more accessible ones, but we'll see kind of where that goes. That's an interesting credit to me because all those people have to pay into that pot, right? And then, so it could work where Citi actually makes more money off of that type of credit than any other one, because there's a lot of different retailers that are playing into that. But the problem with that, at least from a business perspective, is that if there's one retailer, like if American Express or American Airlines rather, is seeing that they're not making as much money as they want to, right? Then they're going to drop out, and that's going to be less money for Citi. So it's an interesting model. I just don't know if it's going to go well long term. But yeah, the Black Lane credit definitely tells you a lot about where Citi's head's at. I agree, Keith. All right, Cardi. Anthony made a great point on Black Lane. It seems like it was roughly equivalent to Uber overseas. I think he was checking for his Lake Como stay, but in the US it seems really weird. Yeah. Yeah, so when I'm overseas, I will be more likely to splurge on kind of a high dollar transfer, right? My wife and I, when we first flew into London for the first time, we got a private driver in a Mercedes to take us from Heathrow to our hotel. And we had, decent amount of suitcase space because it was winter in London. And so, it was nice. It made that trip a lot more simple than it otherwise would have been. I don't have to worry about taking the Heathrow Express to Paddington and then getting a taxi from Paddington to my hotel. Like it just worked, right? And so that was nice, right? And so I definitely understand that for that. Now, I will say that there's a lot of places where Uber just doesn't make sense, right? So like in Paris, right? So Uber first of all, can be more expensive than the regular taxi service in Paris, but the taxis actually can use the bus lanes in Paris and in London. And so having an Uber, not only could it be more expensive, but it also could be significantly longer, which could also make it more expensive as well. And so, yeah, so it kind of depends on the situation. I think the Black Lane could make more sense in situations like Lake Como. That's certainly a good point. So I'll have to see that one too, Anthony. Okay, let's get into background balloon again. Hot take. I would rather have specific credits for AA and Live Nation instead of a general splurge credit if it meant that Black Lane credit wasn't a thing. Oh, okay. So yeah, i.e. $200 American incidentals plus $100 lane credit. Yeah, I would say Live Nation credit. Yeah, I would agree with that. Like some of those retailers, like Live Nation, Best Buy, American Airlines, they seem easier to use than Black Lane. Where I think Black Lane's game is a lot of this could be just be VC money that's trying to chase app signups, right? And so there's not a whole lot more. There's not a whole lot of VC money flying around now as there used to be. But that's what it reads like to me. But yeah, no, I would definitely prefer that. I agree with you on that hot take. Sleepy Rod, honestly, I haven't met anyone that found the CSR update an improvement. Yeah, I have to agree. It's difficult to find someone who likes it. Generally, everyone I know is disappointed. A lot of people really value that 3x on all travel plus protections at a 1.5 cent per point floor. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Being able to use the portal for 1.5 cents per point was kind of a nice little like bumper, right? So like like when you're bowling, you can put the bumpers up and you can't go into the gutters, right? So that was kind of a nice bumper where I could use my Chase Ultimate Reward points for say IHG. Like I could stay at the Intercontinental in Paris and I could book it with my Ultimate Reward points, and it's just I don't have to transfer anything. I just push a button on a website and it happens, and I get 1.5 cents per point, right? That's the dream, right? And that's one of the reasons why people like Chase so much is because it was a lot more easier to use, right? It was not only easy to earn, but it was easy to use those points. And so I think they've definitely kind of made that gap a little bit bigger with this update, right? You have to deliberately stay at partners that they're, people that they're partnering with in order to get that boost, right? That's kind of a big deal. So yeah, no, I agree. A lot of people found that value really important, right? Because with the Chase Sapphire Reserve being a Visa Infinite, you get those amazing protections anyway. So I would want to put my travel on that. And so being able to get 3x on everything is really nice. Now, getting the 4x on hotels, that could be nice because a lot of the places that we stayed at were like kind of smaller, kind of Airbnb, not Airbnbs, but bed and breakfasts in the English countryside. And they don't even take Amex. They just take Visa, right? So using that and getting 3x points, or 3 points per dollar on that was really nice. Really, really, really nice. All right, let's get into background balloon. So I feel like the difference between Amex and other financial institutions is that Amex's coupon booking works because their target audience. Other financial institutions have a more normie audience. Okay, I definitely get where you're coming from, right? So, but I think the other side of that is that Amex knows their audience because they have access to the full data, right? So American Express, they know what you're getting and they know how you're getting it, right? And they know a lot about you because they're continuously monitoring your credit, they're continuously monitoring your purchase habits, and they put you in these little bubbles. And that's how, when they give you these Amex offers, I don't know if you've noticed, but every time we go on Dr. Credit, they have targeted offers. And so, like the most recent one for Hilton was, I think it's Conrad and Waldorf. My targeted offer was $200 after $1,000 of the spend, but I've also see other people targeted for $100 or $150. And so, Amex is very data heavy. They use that data. They know who their people are, and they know what partners will make people spend more money. Like for example, I was taking a look at Tommy John because I love their underwear. It's they're really comfortable. They're great for Florida because it's kind of moisture wicking and all that. But I have an Amex offer on that now, and it's $15 off after spending $100 or more. And so this Amex offer, it's enough to get me to say, oh, is it time for me to restock, right? So I go to Tommy John's website, and then I see that, well, they have this one set on sale, but it's $70. And if I want to get up to $100 to get that offer, like I just gotta spend more, right? And so Amex knows that. That's the whole game, getting people to spend more with their partners than they wouldn't have normally. And Chase, because they don't have their own network, they don't have as much access to what drives those decisions with their customers, right? So because they have a business relationship with all these people, they get more access, more insights than Chase does. And Chase is playing the same game. They're just not playing it as well, right? So anyway, but yeah, no. So it could be the Amex audience, but it could just be that Amex knows how to play to their target audience, right? A lot of people like to say, like, that card's just not right for you. And a lot of the time they'll talk about the Platinum card with that, right? And so that is, kind of a big deal, right? All right, let's keep going. So Keith, my CSR is definitely getting downgraded. I'm waiting for the CSP refresh to see what Chase does to the CSP. Otherwise, it's going to be a Freedom card that ends up in my sock drawer. Yeah, so the CSP, it's rumored, I think, that it's going to go up to $150, right? It's currently $95. And the CSP, it needs to get rid of the online grocery multiplier, right? So it's not terribly difficult to get around that multiplier, but it's archaic and it introduces more friction where there doesn't need to be friction, right? At least in my opinion. So because I mean, my wife, whenever she shops at Publix, which is, a big grocery store in the South, it's, she does the Instacart, like the pickup service. So she gathers the order together, someone at the store puts it together, and then I come and pick it up on my way home from work, right? And so that gets 3 points per dollar on the Chase Sapphire Preferred. But if you go into Publix regularly, you're out of luck. You're getting 1x if you're using that Chase Sapphire Preferred, right? And so, like, I feel like that needs to be fixed. The annual fee that'll go up. The hotel credit with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, I haven't used it. In fact, they gave me the extra 100, or the extra 50, so I got $100 in hotel credits through Chase, and I just don't have any plan to use it because it's just another portal, like between the Amex portal, the City portal, the Capital One portal, the Chase portal. Like, I don't stay that many places in a year. Like, I'm not going to use all these portals, and so I'm not going to get any use out of that credit, even if they were to expand it. Mike Newland, I like when American Express offers additional membership reward points to the offer over cashback or percentage off. I agree, Mike. In fact, whenever I get an offer with points, I work specifically to try to get that, right? Because I love those where it's like, spend, $200, get 3,000 points, right? I had every quarter where I'd get a Pete's offer, Pete's Coffee. I had to spend, I think it was like $75 or $100 or something. And I would get, I think it was like 5,000 membership reward points up to 3 times for that quarter. And so, I definitely stocked up a lot on Pete's Coffee because, well, that's a really great way to get a lot of extra points. And so those kind of offers are really nice. I really love it. It feels like a lot on Macy's. They'll get like 3x more or 5x more on Macy's purchases, which is really nice. And so I really try to use those as much as possible to train Amex that will make me do more shopping, but it seems like I've gotten less of those recently. So I don't know if I'm doing a poor job of training Amex on that one. Keith, I might just my VentureX card because the Capital One offers are lucrative. Yeah, I fly from New York City, so I have access to all 3 bank lounge networks. Yeah, that's really solid. And so at that point, it just depends on which one's closer to where you fly out of, right? And then which one's more reliably easy to get into. And that would be a big deal for me. But yeah, Capital One offers are insanely lucrative, right? And so like there are some where I'll see like Hilton has a decent amount, IHG has a different amount. I keep my VentureX, yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's Capital One offers are really good, and actually, I have preferred liking them using them more than Rakuten because Capital One they give you a code, and I always screenshot the code whenever I go on a shopping trip. But I'm also like I'm able so far I've been able to every single shopping trip use a different card than a Capital One card, and I've still gotten my points. And it takes usually a week or two after the purchase clears in order to actually hit my account. But every single time I've done it, it does, and it's those venture miles are nice, and it hits that account immediately, like a week or two after the purchase actually posts. And so that's better than, in my mind, than having to wait a quarter and hope that Rakuten transfers it from pending to confirmed in the right time. So yeah, so I love Capital One offers. Cardi. I picked up the Rakuten card just to remind me to use it more. Got nearly 10,000 MR points for some new shoes for me and my wife. That is amazing. What were the new shoes? Just out of curiosity, because my wife has been all over Hoka's recently. So, but yeah, so the Rakuten card is nice. If you're going to be on Rakuten, spending 4x extra or getting 4x extra is really solid. And the fact that you earn MR points for that is just wild. Mike Newland, Capital One offers. I had a tire agent at 25x the other day and I bought 4 tires to get 15,000 miles plus whatever the venture card gave me. That is amazing, Mike. I love it when that happens. Capital One offer seems to have more of those kind of high dollar. Like whenever I travel, whenever I look at getting more T-shirts through Under Armour, or if I'm looking at doing a purchase at Macy's or somewhere, I found that the Capital One offers appear to be somewhat more competitive than the ones through Rakuten. At least that's kind of what I've been experiencing so far. But yeah, that is a solid win, Mike. That's amazing. Max Strelnikov. Is that how you say it? I've never had the Aspire before. I never get upgrade bonus offers for the Aspire. Yeah, I have heard some people say that it's harder to get upgrade downgrade offers for the Hilton cards, but then again, some people also say they get it. So I think it's just Amex being Amex with their data, right? I have the Hilton Honors no fee card and Surpass cards. Right? Amex said Hilton will not allow me to get bonus with Aspire. Yes, so I've definitely shared this before, so this shouldn't be jarring news for any of you. But I actually signed up for the Aspire card last year without the sign up bonus, and the reason why I did that is because I knew that I was going to be staying at the Conrad in London, and I knew that I wanted to get access to the executive lounge that was there and get access to the free breakfast that was there. But I wanted to pay for the cheapest room rate. And so I was able to get a room rate that was like, I think it was like $350 per night. And whereas the executive lounge room that came with it was like closer to like $550 a night. So I saved a lot of money just by having the Aspire card. And so that's one of the reasons why I did it. So it could work for you, but if you do have a specific plan for using either the diamond benefits or the free night award, but I wouldn't just get a card without the sign up bonus for nothing, right? So as long as you have a plan, you can definitely get some value out of it. I certainly did. I don't really regret that decision. Cardi, some V5 Ultra Boost on a 30% sale. Wife loved them. Getting older, needs some shoes that keep feet from hurting in the day. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I actually got some recently, the Reef shoes, the Reef tennis shoes, and those things are comfortable. Man, I was an Olakai guy for a while, and those shoes are nice, but they're just very kind of more rigid, which is good for certain purposes, right? But I like the Reef shoes because they're just kind of more comfortable. It's like walking on clouds. But yeah, so I definitely agree with getting the right shoes. But yeah, those V5 Ultra Boost 30% off sale. That sounds amazing. 30% off on anything sounds amazing. QC Man, how long does it take for Capital One to give you the miles for in-store purchases? Did a CVS 15X purchase last week. Wonder when I'll see the points. So I actually haven't used an in-store purchase. So I just recently, and over the past year, I've lost probably about 100 pounds. And I used to shop at DXL quite a bit, so kind of big boy store. And every once in a while, so on Capital One, they always have, I think it's 1x extra online, but up to 10x kind of in store. And I've never really done that, but I've always kind of wondered if it would work. So QC man, you'll have to tell me how it goes, but I do know at least for online purchase, it's usually a week or two after the purchase actually posts. So, but yeah, no, I am curious. And if anybody else in the chat knows the answer to QC man's question, please let us know. I'm really curious to hear what that looks like. All right, I was able to get 17,500 Capital One miles from a T-Mobile home internet Capital One offer. Oh, that's amazing. There's a lot of really good offers for those internet service providers or the cell phone providers, right? So, when you sign that contract, or you get stuff like that, people are willing to spend a lot of money for that up front, which is kind of a crazy big deal, right? So that's honestly incredible. That's awesome. All right, and then we got Jamie Cheres 2425. What's up, Philip? First time watching a live. I opened a platinum card using a no lifetime language offer on 813 for 170,000 MR points. That is amazing. Good for you. That is it Jamie or Jaime? Could be. But yeah, great job on that one. Honestly, the platinum card is incredible. The 175,000 offer is even more so incredible. So I was in pop-up jail for the platinum card the entire time. So I tried multiple times to get the Schwab version, to get the vanilla version, and always in pop-up jail. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get this card no matter how much I want it, right? So I wanted to get the card before, when my wife and I traveled to Europe the first time in December. I wanted to get it before then, but I couldn't get a sign-up bonus. And I was like, well, I already got the Aspire card with no sign-up bonus. I can't do the platinum card with no sign-up bonus. So I had to wait. And the only thing they would give me was a upgrade offer, and that was 125,000 points. But that 175,000 points is nice. And one of the fun things that I'm actually tracking. So my wife and I are going to Edinburgh next year with some family friends of ours, and we're wanting to what I want to do, my ultimate booking, and I'm going to try to make sure it happens, because there is some availability at a year out. Is I want to use Cathay Pacific, because if there's award availability on British Airways, you can get first class on British Airways for 90,000 Cathay miles and about $400 in taxes. And so that's significantly cheaper than the $1,000 in taxes with British Airways directly. And so that's one of the things I want to do. So you can, with that 175,000 miles, you get 2 first class tickets to Europe. So I'm among a bunch of other things, right? So that's really awesome. QC man, you're too young to be in the comfortable shoes phase of your life, Philip. Yeah. So I teach in the morning, so I teach part-time in the mornings, and every once in a while my kids ask me how old I am, and so I always ask, how old do you think I am, right? And then I realized I should probably stop asking that question, because I'm with a bald head and the beard, I look a little bit older than I actually am. So one kid told me I looked 45, and so I went ahead and just stopped asking, because no, that's not right. But yeah, so yeah, I'm starting to get there. I do have some gout flare-ups every once in a while, so when that happens, it doesn't matter which kind of shoes you're wearing. It's going to be a not good time, but yeah, that's a good point. All right, I tried getting it using my wife's referral link, but I kept getting approved for 80,000 only. Yeah, these new as high as offers don't like me. No, I definitely agree with you on that one. Even with the referral points, right? You're still not ahead, which it would be nice to be able to get the referral points plus the actual points. But yeah, no, you did the right thing. 175,000 points, because that's the highest offer they're offering for that card too, right? And so that brings me in one question. Do you guys think that the annual or the sign-up bonus for the new platinum will be 200,000 points or higher? Because it's 175,000 is the highest right now. But you never know. You never know what's going to happen with that one. Oh wow, we've got some thunder going on. It's the afternoon in Florida, so it's time for rain. But yeah. So one thing while you guys are talking amongst yourselves, I think we talked a little bit about, there was one question that was, oh yeah, so 1914, what was the name? Way back, was talking about redemption offers or redeeming points. Where was he? LG 1914. Yeah, so transferring points. If you're still on there, I want to talk to you guys about it. So, my wife and I. So, I transferred over roughly about 300,000 points to Alaska before that transfer partnership went away in June, and so we kind of we kind of went overboard with treating ourselves. And so we actually we used, it was because it's 15,000 points for first class tickets on American Airlines from Orlando to DC. And my wife and I traveled to Washington, DC a fairly decent amount. And so we found out that we really like having first class seats. Now, I know it's not like, oh my goodness, like the food, the caviar and all that sort of thing, right? But, having wide seats, having someone make mixed drinks for you throughout the day, throughout the trip is insane, right? It's always a little bit more fun to get there buzzed. So we made that booking, but then my wife was like, "We're only doing first class domestically for the rest of time, right? So despite the fact that we have 70,000 Southwest points, we're not using them. We're only doing first class, right? So my wife and I are going to Atlanta in October. And we found out that, basically I was looking at first class on Delta because, well, American doesn't fly direct from Orlando to Atlanta very well. And so we were pretty much looking at Atlanta or Southwest or Spirit or something like that. And so we were doing Delta, and those first class tickets were basically for both of us to be first class round trip from Orlando to Atlanta and then Atlanta to back to Orlando. It was about 60,000 points. So 60,000 Amex points were transferred to Delta. And later, when I actually looked at the cash rate for those exact flights that I did, it ended up being about $2,000. So for both of us. And so basically, 60,000 points, saving $2,000, that's 3 cents per point valuation, honestly, for Delta miles. And so I know that, a lot of people are like, domestic first class, it doesn't really get you that much. But, I don't have to worry about whether or not someone's going to be beside me. I don't have to worry about like leaning out into the aisle and getting hit by the beverage cart, because I don't want to cram someone else in the middle seat. It's worth it to me. And so 3 cents per point for domestic Delta is not bad, at least in my take on that. All right, so QC man, how short does domestic first class seat have to be for there to be no meal service, or is it always served? Yeah, so I think it's like I want to say it's 500 miles. No, 500 miles seems weird. It's like, so if I were to travel from say Boston to Miami or something, I feel like that would do it. But I do know like cross country. So like if I were to travel from Atlanta to LA or something, that would have a meal. But for the shorter flights, like from Orlando to DC or from Orlando to Atlanta, or Orlando to Atlanta, sorry, it's just pretty much snacks, right? But it's unlimited snacks. Those snacks are nice, right? Like they give you the basket, they keep bringing you the basket. The vanilla cookies are nice. The little cheese curl things are cool. Like it's just really, really nice. Okay, Cardi, I just keep pretending that first class only exists on international flights, so my wife gets curious. Yes, yeah, honestly, like it's crazy. One thing that I did learn actually is I don't like flying in the bulkhead. So I chose it, right? So I chose to sit in the bulkhead seat at the front of the plane with American both times. And one of the things that I hated was that, so the crew, they put their bags in the front row, which means you've got to be first on the plane to put your bags in the second row. Otherwise, you're putting your bags somewhere behind first class, right? And so I learned that lesson the first time. And so, we were like, no, I'm not going back to get my bags when we land. I am going to be first off the plane. So in order to do that, I'm going to be first on the plane. And so I was one of those people that were just standing up at the gate waiting for group one to be called. But yeah, so that was interesting. But so I learned that I don't like sitting in the bulkhead because you don't have access to your bags, which is kind of frustrating. But yeah, domestic first class, it's definitely something I wouldn't pay for. Like I wouldn't pay $1,000 a ticket for that, but it's been really, really nice. Keith, I've been in pop-up jail for over 3 years for the American Express Platinum. I'm just never going to hold the Amex personal Platinum card. I have 3 business Platinum cards instead. Yeah, wow, that's amazing. So I think you're not really missing much, honestly. Like, Walmart Plus, if you care about that, you're missing out on that. You're missing out on the hotel credit, which you're not going to anymore, apparently. And the only thing that I don't like with the business platinum is that the multiplier for airfare is just on through the portal with the business platinum. I don't think you can get 5x booking directly with it, which is kind of really a weird thing. Like, why would the business platinum card have to go through the portal in order to get 5x on airfare? That just seems weird to me. And then QC Man, Keith, ever tried a plat? So I actually will say I've tried Plat No Lifetime Language links when I was in pop-up jail for it, and it didn't work. I tried a Plat No Lifetime Language offer for the Aspire card, and it didn't work for me either. So yeah, it is what it is. If they don't want you to have the card, they're not gonna give you money to have the card. Keith, I have a 250,000 American Express Business Platinum No Lifetime Language offer on my desk, so will I have a fourth card soon? Yeah, those are amazing. That's actually what I got this. I got a mailer that had 250,000 miles or 250,000 points for $20,000 in spend over 3 months. And it actually just came around tax time, right? So I was actually had to pay about $22,000 in taxes, put that all in the business platinum card, got 1.5x because it was more than $5,000. And so I got the 250,000 points for the sign up bonus 2 days after I actually made the purchase. But then I also got the $30,000 or 30,000 points for making the direct purchase, which definitely made up for the fee of actually having to use it, which was nice. But yeah, no, I will eat those all day. That is definitely going to be worth it. Walmart Plus seems useless to me until I needed baby formula in a sleepless days. Then it became a godsend. Yeah, Cardi, I love Walmart Plus. So we use it for like toilet paper, paper towels. I use it for like bath needs. So like when my bath soap needs to be replaced or my toothpaste. But then we also use it for my wife and I like to use Greek yogurt parfaits for breakfast. We do Greek yogurt with blueberries and some granola on top. And we get all that stuff at Walmart. Not the granola because we like the bougie kind and they don't have it, but everything else we get there. The blueberries have always been more or less good. Meat, we've actually had a decent amount of experience with Walmart. The pork chops and the chicken tenderloins, if you get the organic versions, are actually still cheaper than Publix, but they're usually pretty good. So we've had some good experience. One thing that has been kind of hit or miss is when you try to get like berries or other types of fruit and vegetables. Sometimes they pick some rotten ones and you just have to take a picture of it and get your money back. Actually, one time they actually demanded that I take one package of blackberries back to the store. And I'm like, forget it. I'm just not going to get blackberries there anymore. But yeah, no, it can be a godsend, specifically if you are getting things that really can't be picked wrongly, right? So if you're getting boxes of diapers, right, as long as you get the right size, like it doesn't matter which box you get, right? So that's always going to be a good option for Walmart Plus. Vincent says BizPlat is set apart by the 35% MR rebate for airlines and the ability to cash out at 1 cent per point into an Amex business checking account. Yes, they had fewer credits to manage before the Hilton credits came along. Absolutely. Vincent is speaking the truth. So I have the business checking account and the business platinum card, and I actually just recently did that. So I transferred out, 10,000 points for $100 that I put into actually buying this microphone. And, it definitely wasn't my best redemption, right? But a cent per point isn't bad, especially when you consider everything else. And so being able to have that is nice, but the 35% rebate is also really, really nice. Because it really can help you if you're booking domestic economy with those point values, right? So there's actually you have to look so if I'm booking with points for Delta, right? If I'm booking points with Delta, I take a look at what I can get with my 15% off discount booking through Delta directly, right? However, there is some times where that 35% discount on the business platinum card makes sense, right? It actually is a little bit cheaper than having to, and then you don't have to transfer to Delta, which means you're not paying that excise tax, right? And so having the business platinum, having that flexibility is really nice. And so, there's a lot of people, and I'm probably one of them, that say that, the business platinum is maybe better for most people because there's that extra added flexibility that you don't get with the Platinum card. Now, the only reason, like, I would only have the Business Platinum card if I got 5x on direct airfare, because, if I'm paying for Breeze or something, right? So my wife and I flew on Breeze Ascent. We paid for it with our Platinum card to get 5x membership reward points on that one, right? And so that was really, really solid. And so, the Business Platinum, if they did 5x on airfare directly or even higher, that could quickly be the only Platinum card I have in my wallet. Uh, all right, Jamie, I now have two MR accounts. Any thoughts? Seems weird. Okay, two MR accounts. We're definitely going to need some more information about that. So it seems to me, do you have like two different logins, or is it showing as two different reward totals? Because that does seem very weird. I haven't heard anything about that. And thank you so much for QC Man for the $2 super sticker. I really appreciate you being here. You are the best. Thank you so much for the support. And then Keith says, oh, there's another comment before that one. Sorry, thank you. I missed that one. Okay. A day after opening my Platinum, the card showed up on my Amex app, and the account had 10,811 MR points on it already. I also have a gold and business gold, but those two accounts have 75,000 MR points. Interesting. So you're showing, so your Platinum card has 10,000 points on it already, but you already, that's interesting. You may have to actually talk to someone on the back end to try to get those merged, because that really could be weird. And I've never seen that happen before. And both are, did you synced both with your online account, I assume? That is really strange. Yeah, we probably would just message someone, or you could even call in, and I would try to get someone to like see if we can merge those. That is really weird. Okay, but yeah, thank you. Sorry, I missed that first that comment. All right. And then Keith, QC Man, I was able to get through Papa Jail with no lifetime language offer, but I decided not to accept it because I no longer really value their personal platinum card, 150,000 offer. Yeah. So the personal platinum card, it is kind of hard to deal with, right? You have a lot of credits to deal with, but some of them are, I like to say, kind of, you get to just, set it and forget it, right? Like the digital entertainment credit, right? You don't have to think. You just use it, and as long as you're on a subscription, it hits that account. You get that money refunded to you in a statement of credit, and it works, right? And so that's really nice. And so that's really nice. The Uber Cash credit is relatively easy to use on a relatively easy basis, at least for me, but that's just because I have a lot of places that do pick up through Uber Eats, and they actually charge about the same to do that. So, I can imagine if people weren't in that thing, then that wouldn't really work for you guys. Keith, Amex is lost for not letting you get it earlier. I know, right? It's weird how Amex wants you to get a card, because one of the things that I've learned is that not only will they give you, so they can give you the pop-up jail for each offer, right? So when I was trying to get my business gold card, I first of all tried to get the 200,000 point offer, and I successfully got it eventually. And then I went ahead and applied for that 200,000 point offer, and I got the pop-up jail. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it the regular way. I'm going to log into my account and then try to get it directly. And that one showed up as a 150,000 point offer for $15,000 in spend. And I was like, okay, let's try it. And I got that one. So pop-up jail is not static, right? They have a card they want you to get. They're not going to tell you what it is. You got to figure that out for yourself. But they have a card that they want you to get, right? So when I closed my Blue Cash Preferred card in May, and I tried to get the Hilton Surpass card then. So there was I think it was a heightened sign-up bonus whenever I tried to apply for it, and I didn't get it. But what I was able to get was the Business Gold Delta card, and so I got the higher sign-up bonus for that. And so it's weird, like they give you certain cards. They definitely seem to be a lot easier to get sign-up bonuses on the business side, though, which is really nice. Oh, the mystery kind of deepens. So you're saying you have that $10,000 MR without spend. Wow, I wonder if you inherited someone else's account number or something. That's really strange. But yeah, I definitely talked to someone. I wouldn't mention that you didn't earn anything or didn't spend anything to get that, but I would definitely try to get those joined. QC Man, the business plat not having 5 extra direct flights is annoying. Yeah, it's definitely something that it seems like a weird oversight. Like it just makes sense. Like unless they're just expecting business travelers just work through portals anyway, but I feel like that just doesn't make sense because you would have if you were a big company, you'd be working with Concur or something like that for that business travel. So yeah, it is strange. It is really strange. All right, Cardi. I was in pop-up jail for the Aspire for like 3 years. I got the Delta Gold and the Blue Business Plus in the interim. Finally got my Aspire earlier this year. Yeah, they have an order where they want you to get those cards, and it'd be nice if they could just tell you, right? We want you to have this much, this card in this kind of way, but you just gotta tinker around with it. Naturally, I got the Aspire like a week before the extra free nights offer. I know that is frustrating. I hate it when that happens. Let's see, what was the offer that I got? Oh yeah, so I got my one key card, and I got it at the original $300 offer, but the week after I got it, it went up to I think it was like $400 or $500 for the one key. So this is the no annual fee version one. And I messaged them. I was like, "Hey, like, can I get the thing?" And they're like, "No." So I was kicking myself. It's you win some and you lose some in this game. It sucks when you lose, but every once in a while you get to win. And hopefully you're winning more than you're losing, Cardi. We haven't even talked about the Alaska card yet. Let's go ahead and transfer to that real quick because I don't have too much gas left in the tank, but we can. And of course, we're frozen. And I'm back. Okay. All right. I don't know what's going on with my computer. Are you there? Okay. Yeah, I'm here. Okay. All right. Okay, yeah. So we're getting into it. AQC Man has a good question. Okay, so this one here, the Atmos Rewards Summit Visa Infinite Credit Card, and so this one's going to be pretty interesting. So this one gets you for $395. You get an initial welcome offer. So you get 5,000 bonus points after opening your new account, and you can earn 100,000 bonus points after spending 6,000 or more within the first 90 days. So that's $2,000 every month. Okay. So this offer was intended for employees, according to Frequent Miler. But now the perks. You get the annual global 25,000 point companion award for a travel companion on the same itinerary when booked using your Atmos rewards points. So when you're booking with points, you have, yeah, we definitely haven't discussed it yet. Then you get the global 100,000 point companion award every year. You spend $60,000 or more on purchases and that anniversary year. And then 2 Alaska lounge passes and 2 Wi-Fi passes each calendar quarter. So this is frustrating. This one's frustrating, right? Because if you have this card, you probably have family, right? Having 8 passes a year is a lot different than getting 2 passes per quarter. Because if I travel 2 times a year, I want to get my kids in. I want to get my wife in. And so having those lounge passes, like it would be nice if that was like even semi-annually instead of quarterly. And then free checked bag for you and up to 6 guests, right? That's basically standard fare for award cards. 10,000 status points every year on your account anniversary. That's pretty. And then airport security credit, TSA pre-check and global entry, $50 voucher for airlines flight cancellations. Okay, so this one is dumb to me. When I saw this one, I really wanted to talk about it. And this is just stupid because honestly, if you're paying for the premium airline credit card, presumably you're probably one of Alaska's more loyal followers, or at least someone who is intimately familiar with the program, right? Why do you need a voucher for cancellations, right? Just let us cancel the ticket. Like I don't understand. I don't understand that. So pay no change fee when you make same day change to your Alaska Airlines flight plans. Okay, that one makes more sense. I'll give them that. No partner award fees. Now this one is huge. So as someone who's been booking a lot of Alaska Airlines flights, you have to pay the taxes on that flight, but it's also $25 per booking. That you don't get that back, right? And so not having that, that's pretty big. If you're doing a lot of award bookings, that's a big deal. Now the earning rates suck. 3 points per dollar in Alaska Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines, dining, and foreign purchases. So, I mean, the dining is nice, right? The dining is nice for 3x Alaska miles. Foreign purchases is really interesting. So if you're someone who spends a good deal amount of time in a country that's not the United States, it could be a 3x catch-all, right? Especially since I think it's a Visa, right? It sounds like it's probably a Visa. Even as the MasterCard though, like this is great. Like this could be your catch-all. This is your travel card, right? So foreign purchases. If I were to buy tea from a French tea company that I really really like, right? That's a foreign purchase. They charge in euros. Would that qualify as 3x if I get it shipped to America? That's the question, right? So that could be good. And then I think it's what, 395? Yeah, $395 kind of buried the lead there. But yeah, so it seems to me that's an expensive way to purchase that 3x international. Okay, thanks, QC man. All right, so let's get back into discussion mode. Let's see. Oh, we already missed. QC man, you may have already discussed it, but do you plan to get the new Alaska card? I don't. But it's not because I don't like 100,000 Alaska miles. It's because Bank of America really just hates me. They wouldn't even give me a checking account. I'm thinking about honestly just going into a branch and talking to them about it because I think there was a couple months ago they had a $500 checking account bonus, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's do this. Right, we're going to get that money. No, they wouldn't give me a checking account. They won't give me a credit card. So I could definitely get player two involved, but at that point, because we can't really transfer in, there wouldn't be, well, I don't know. Do they have family planning where you can kind of merge points on family? Because then 100,000 for her and my 200,000 remaining could kind of go together. So that might be nice. But yeah, no, right now I don't have any initial plans to get that, but I do want to go into a Bank of America branch and just say like, hey, what's up? I want to build a relationship. You guys are cool. Keith, I only have one Amex consumer card, which is now the green card. I just don't value the Amex consumer cards. I have Hilton Diamond status through my Hilton business card, which I use as a catch-all card. Yes, Keith, thank you so much for bringing that up. The Hilton business card can be the best catch-all card in the business, right? So that's 5 Hilton points per dollar on any purchase with no limits. And so if you're someone who says, for example, like if you only stay at Hilton's, right? If you use the Blue Business Plus and you transfer your Amex points only to Hilton, that's a 4x card. This card is a 5x card. So it edges out a 2x on everything card. So it's essentially 2.5% on everything, essentially, when you look at it. The great thing about this is that it is possible to get a cent to a cent and a half of value on Hilton properties. You got to cherry pick dates, you got to cherry pick properties, but you can do it. So if you're only doing that, like if you're looking for aspirational property stays, like in an actual like vacation destination, right? If you want to go to New York or Hawaii or even Orlando, right? You can make this a 5x card for everything. If you know the game enough and Hilton is your plan, right? That's amazing. And Hilton Diamond status you spend on that card is great. $195 annual fee for that card makes sense if you're in Hilton ecosystem all the time, right? I get that. The green card, I have a love-hate relationship with the green card. I loved it for where I was in my life last year. So I had the green card last year, and what that allowed me to do was get 3x on dining and general travel. And so we stayed at a couple of timeshare resort places, and we did a couple of Vrbo stays that summer with some family. And so that was really a great opportunity for me to be able to kind of maximize that spend. And so I used the green card. We have a lot of tolls in Florida. I use a green card for tolls. Parking downtown, use a green card for that too. I loved the green card, but because I'm branching out, because I have the Platinum card, so I have the airfare covered. Because I have the Hilton card and the Marriott card, I have hotels covered. There's just not a lot of opportunity for the green card for me. So yeah, but the Amex business card is really great. I did cancel mine, but before I did, I actually transferred my $15,000 credit line. I was able to transfer 1,200 or 12,000 of it to my Blue Business Plus card, which was really nice. So that one has a $25,000 credit limit, which is good. QC man, okay, yes, I guess you haven't discussed it. Right, you came at the right time. And then Jamie, by the way, I love how quick you were posting a video on an Amex $600 travel credit. That's one of the main reasons I got the Platinum, booking FHRs for ski season in Colorado. Yeah, I agree. The FHR credit really can give you some solid benefits. Now, as we saw at the early part of this, if you were here in the beginning part, we kind of went over some bookings. it's very possible to not get certain value, right? It's very possible for the FHR or the hotel collection to be more expensive than booking directly. We saw that with the Fairmont in Austin, Texas, and a couple other properties, right? But at least with a lot of properties that I'm looking at in Orlando, it can be significantly cheaper actually than booking directly through like Hilton or Hyatt. And so, yeah, so the FHR is really good. And thanks so much. I was walking my dog. I was actually already dressed to go to work. And I was like, because I had to go in at 2 o'clock that day. And I was like, you know what? I got 7 minutes before I have to actually like start like thinking about leaving to be there on time. And I was like, I got to get this together. This is just too huge. And but yeah, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you. But yeah, I mean, that's huge news for me. Vincent, you and other YouTubers have talked about the Fidelity Visa. I just got a mailer for that card with no offer, but 0% APR on purchase and balance transfers for 18 months. Wow, that's a nice offer. So that's pretty similar to the Discover standard offers, I think, for balance transfers and purchases, right? Now that is really solid. So, and honestly, in itself, like if you are someone who has a big purchase coming up, right, that can be good. So my wife and I, we had to replace our fence last hurricane season because it got knocked over, and we put that purchase on our Blue Business Cash. Well, we got the Blue Business Cash for that because it has no interest for 12 months, and so what that's doing is it's giving us our money so we can use that money for other things at that time. QC Man definitely would rather get the $150. I have it. I love it. It's my favorite card. Actually, you know what it is? It may not be. Oh no, here it is. It actually got a redesign recently. Actually, that's what I was looking for in my little book. So it got a redesign, and it's actually dropped it. I'll be back. All right. So just recently got a redesign. It looks really pretty nice. I don't know if you can see it. It just looks a lot cleaner. It looks more similar to their cash management account debit card, but it actually has a little kind of a metal core, so it has some heft to it. Now, it's definitely not a metal card, but you definitely look nice when you use it. But 2% back on everything, and it has some decent protections, so it could be a pretty good travel card as well. And of course, no foreign transaction fees. This is if you're team cashback, this is my travel card, hands down, right? So this is one of my favorite cards. Without the sign up bonus, it depends on if I had a big purchase coming up or if I needed a balance transfer, right? I would consider that. That would be good. But I really love it. It's my favorite card that I don't spend money on. And the reason why is because, well, I have the venture card, and right now I'm in a point in my life where I'd rather have those points than the cash back. But if I were trying to do like prioritize, put more of a priority on like retirement spending, or for instance, when I have a baby, when I have a baby, right? So if I want to use those rewards to go towards like a 529 plan or something like that, or college prepaid, then yeah, that could really be helpful, right? Because those rewards will be going towards something that I want it to go to, and I'd have to be very deliberate to do that, and probably be more of an adult thing to do because, well, our business class travel is not probably going to be as much in the first couple years, right? Visa. That's a really good offer, but I still want the $150. Yeah, I agree. The 0% for 18 months can be pretty nice. Let's see. The Westin Riverfront in Avon is pretty much the same price with FHR as with Marriott. You also get $150 spa credit. We got an upgraded room with a suite view. Breakfast was amazing at their restaurant. Yeah, honestly, the more I see about Westins, the more I love them. So I think it's Ask Sebi who says that Westins is one of his favorite properties, and I kind of get it. They're in good locations. They're kind of a little more corporate, but they have good amenities. It's a solid property. But yeah, FHR can really make a lot of sense. When my wife and I stayed at the Canopy in West Palm Beach in June, we actually ended up saving like $10 off of that 2-room rate from just the standard booking direct rate. But then again, we also got that $100 property credit and a bunch of other things that we were able to put towards, food. So we got, drinks by the pool, and it has a rooftop pool that overlooks the ocean. That's really cool. But yeah, FHR can be really, really solid. Stoke and Rye by Chef Richard Sandoval. They let us in at noon and we checked out at 4. Felt like a 2-day stay for sure. I'm hooked on FHR. Yeah. The minute you actually are able to fully enjoy that 4 p.m. checkout, is just the best feeling ever, right? It's great. My wife and I, we traveled to Huntsville, and she actually had. We were going to a tree house on the lake in south of Huntsville, but we were staying downtown Huntsville for a little bit. And my wife had a business meeting that she needed to be present for, so she couldn't be on the road. And so we were looking at that, and we were just thinking, okay, like what can we do? So we were like, oh, wait a minute, we got late checkout, and so we stayed until 4, and we were able to be able to she was able to complete her meeting, get everything done that she needed to do, and then we were able to just leave at a time that made sense for us. And of course, the property, the Airbnb, they didn't even have check-in open until 5, and so we just literally left the hotel room, got in the car, drove to the lake house, and then got to start our actual vacation, right? So yeah, those kind of benefits are really incredible for like quality of life and things like that. Well, folks, I'm just going to give you guys a few minutes to put any final, final talks. It definitely sounds like it's storming out there. I don't know if you can hear it in the microphone, but when that starts happening, people lose power and all sorts of fun things, and so that can be a problem. So I want to make sure that I'm, closing things on a positive note. I just want to say thank you, QC Man, again for the $2 super sticker. You are amazing. Love the questions from a lot of different people. We saw some new faces in here today too, which is also really great. So thanks so much for being here, guys. I really appreciate you. And well, I can't wait to see what happens with this platinum card. Okay, QC Man, if the rumor is the plat going to $895 and there's already going to be a $600 credit just for FHR, either they're eliminating some other good credits or the plat is really going to be powerful. Yeah, I'm kind of fearful that the Uber cash credit is going to go away. Now, the argument against that, right, is that it's currently on the gold card. That gold card was recently refreshed, but with the Delta cards transitioning to a rideshare only credit, it feels like that one might be going away. I don't know. It feels like that's an easy kill. The Equinox certainly feels like an easy kill. The Saks feels like an easy kill. Because they gotta make it make sense, right? $600 is just overpowered in my opinion. But yeah, no, if they kept some of those nice credits, this could be really a solid card. We'll see what happens. I am a little bullish about this because I do feel like next year I'll be keeping my platinum card. Well, I'm going to downgrade to the green and then hopefully get an upgrade offer. But I definitely do see myself being in a position where I get to keep my platinum card. And, I hope that's the case. But again, thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. I really appreciate you. You guys are incredible. Thanks again for QC Man for the super sticker. And I will see you again on Monday. Yeah. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.